Hi everyone and welcome back. Today I'm making some curry chicken at home and I thought, you know what, I'll record it and share it with you guys. So it's not the traditional video that you'd usually get that's really condensed. This one just shows me cutting up stuff and just preparing a quick curry chicken with potatoes for me and my family for dinner. So let's start this recipe. We're going to be seasoning the chicken and the potato with black pepper, salt. Of course, put the amount of salt you use in your diet. So I always go to half of a teaspoon, and I have 2 pounds of chicken here. A tablespoon of garlic. In goes my green seasoning. And this is when I'm home and I'm not really filming my regular recipes. I'll just cut everything up right over the bowl. In went some ruku powder or natto powder, and I'm cutting in some onions. In goes a tomato also. I love to add a tomato when I'm currying. If you don't like to put it, of course it's optional. And ruku really doesn't go in curries. It's mostly for stew dishes, but I like to put a little bit when I'm currying. And I'll add in some pimento peppers. And this is how I do it regularly when I'm not filming. I just cut everything over the bowl. It just makes it really easy, and then I don't have a lot of dishes to wash. If you all prefer this type of content, let me know. I'll try to do a couple of these where it's just me cooking at home. In went some scallions and some pudina or Cuban oregano. Now I'm just going to cut that up into the chicken. It will melt as it's cooking. Sometimes I grind it into my green seasoning, but I don't put it in my everyday green seasoning as it's very potent. I'm also going to break in some or cut in some curry leaves, which is totally optional. I sometimes blend it when I'm doing curries. The green seasoning for curries, I like to put curry leaf and pudina in it. So mix really well. And let's put up a pot on our stove on a medium heat. You don't want it to be too hot, and we're going to add in some oil. I like using avocado oil. So just about a tablespoon here because we want to toast some cumin seeds and some fenugreek seeds or meaty seeds. So just a few whole grain jeera or whole grain cumin and a few grains of the fenugreek or meaty. Now this is the curry powder that I'm using, and I'm going to be doing the curry a little bit differently today, and it's actually my first time doing it like this. So that curry powder, I'm going to add in some amchar masala, which is half of a teaspoon to 2 tablespoons of curry, and half of a teaspoon of ground jeera powder or cumin powder that has been roasted. And I'm going to give that a mix, and I'm actually adding water to the curry today. I've never tried it like this before, so I'm trying it. And I'm going to tell you that I actually love how it came out. So you use less oil and you use the water to help the curry cook. Now I know some people don't add any oil at all, but because I want to saute some aromatics before the curry goes in, that's why I have some oil in there. So I'm going to add in a few curry leaves and let that toast for a little. It's going to flavor the oil. And then I'll go in with a couple pimentos chopped. You can add a piece of hot pepper like scotch bonnet or habanero here if you like. And I'm going to slice in a few pieces of onion. And with this now, you're just going to let it toast until it gets a light brown color on the edges. And remember, you want your heat to be a medium. You don't want it screaming. You don't want to burn those seeds that you put in there. You want them to get dark brown, but if you burn them, they're going to be really bitter, so you don't want that. So now that the onions are slightly brown, we're going to add in that curry mixture. Feel free to add a little more water if you want here, because you really want that curry to cook properly. So let it cook for about 4 to 5 minutes on low. You can drop your heat to low. You don't want the curry to burn. You want it to cook out really, really well. Usually we toast the curry in the oil until it feels a little grainy, and then we add the water to help it continue to cook. But as we're doing it different, you want to allow that curry to cook really well. And as it's cooking, once it hits that point where it's ready for the chicken, you will see the curry starts to separate from the oil. That's the indication you're looking for, and you'll know that is your sign that it's time to add in your protein. So it's now starting to happen. If you watch really well, you'll see it starting to separate, and even the curry is starting to thicken slightly. And I quite like this method, so I think I'll be sticking to this method of cooking curry from now on. Now I'm going to add in the chicken, and when you add in the chicken, you want to crank your heat up to medium high and allow it to fry up in that curry. It's going to lock in that curry flavor, and you want the natural juices that come out of the chicken, you want that to dry down completely. So we'll call that vibunjing the chicken, which is drying out all of those natural juices while that curry flavor is being intensified. So we're going to leave the chicken to cook, let that those natural juices dry out before we add any additional water to help it cook. You want to turn it ever so often to make sure it's not sticking in the middle and burning. I just like to make sure that the pieces are being seared properly so that it's getting that curry color. As you can see here, now it's starting to stick and there's not much water left there, so I'm going to add in the water just to cover the chicken to help it cook. And I'm going to cover this down and allow it to come up to a boil. So once you add in that water and it comes up to a boil, this is going to take, if the chicken pieces are small, 15 to 20 minutes. If the chicken pieces are bigger, it can take upwards of 45 minutes. You're going to cook it until the sauce starts to thicken, the potatoes are cooked, and the chicken is fully cooked. You want to taste and adjust your salt. Make sure it's tasting yummy. And then once it's finished and it looks like this, it's time to enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, enjoyed the recipe. Comment down below, let me know what you think, and feel free to switch up any other protein like beef, goat, shrimp, duck for this recipe. Potatoes with duck is really good also. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye everyone.